great to have you back. What do you think of the outside of the house?
Well, no, it's so interesting to see all the finishes now complete on the outside.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What about what's behind what we're seeing?
You know, that's a great question, Amy, because the average homeowner, home buyer coming to see a house like this wouldn't really even begin to know about all the details we looked at during the construction process.
Right.
Yeah, details that make a big difference. You know, the drainage details and the flashing details. Water, unbeknown to most people, gets behind every kind of cladding. Brick, stone, stucco, wood. Makes no difference. Water's going to get behind. So the fact those drainage and flashing details are there, really important. And the other thing that people couldn't see would be all those thermal protection details. Now, there's 1 inch of rigid insulation wrapping the whole house like a thermal blanket. Pretty big deal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Why don't we see what's behind this exterior?
That'd be great.
Okay. Well, Sam, looks like a great opportunity to talk about some of our systems.
Sure, you want to start with the heating system?
Let's do it. Tell me, what are we looking at?
Something very different. Most homes have an air duct heating system where the heated air comes out of the ducts. This house has a radiant floor heating system, which means hot water is piped through all these little tubes and it heats the floor. And the reason that is so important is it creates a warm surface. And surface temperatures are much, much more important than air temperature. 40% more comfort through the surface than we do when air temperature is heated up.
Wow.
So that's why these systems have a great reputation for comfort. I'll also mention, if you look right next to it, you see the duct coming through for the cooling system, the high velocity duct system, very high efficient cooling equipment, fitting that high velocity fan that sends cooling through the house. So that's right next to the heating system.
Great. Now it looks like they have ripped off a piece of drywall for us just to talk about the insulation.
Yes, aren't we special? But thanks to them for doing that, because we can actually show what's really important about insulation is as much as the quantity is the quality of the install. And what you see here is the insulation is installed very full between the framing members, so you have no gaps and no compression, no squeezing, no places where it's missing, and that's what you want to see in a good installation job. Insulation derives its benefit and its performance from the fact that you have those air spaces between the material. In fact, that is what characterizes the insulation performance, and if we squeeze and compress it, then we lose that R value. Now, what's also important about this insulation is we know on the back side, do you remember what was installed?
We've got a barrier around the exterior of the home, insulation, right?
That's right, we have a 1 inch rigid insulation sheathing around the entire house. So that means we have a blanket around the entire house on top of this blanket of insulation here. And why that's so important is 400% more heat flow through the wood framing, top plates, bottom plates, framing members, headers, 400% more heat flow. Now we block it all with that outside sheathing of insulation. Very important detail.
Great. Now, is there any difference with the insulation here as opposed to the attic?
Oh, thanks for asking. That's also very important to know, because attics are a very tough condition. It's much, much hotter in the summer. It might be 130 degrees versus 90 degrees outside, and still equally cold in the winter. So with the attics, we need to do some details and more insulation than we do in the walls. So you'll see in the attic, we'll have like R49, which is much thicker insulation in the attic. Also, where the insulation runs down to the soffit, we need to put a baffle there so the air from the soffit venting goes over the insulation and doesn't diminish the performance of the insulation there.
Well, I think we're good here. You want to head to the basement?
Always love going to the basement.
Let's
That's
go.
great.
Well, this certainly looks complicated. What are we looking at?
I don't have a clue. Well, actually I do.
Okay, good. We're counting
What we
on
have
it.
here, I guess, is two systems. We have a cooling system over there, the high velocity duct with the very efficient cooling system driving cooling to all the rooms. And this is our condensing boiler, which is also very efficient, and it supplies the heated water for the radiant heat floor system we talked about. So now, in fact, there's lots of pumps, and they're in different blocks, and they're fed by different thermostats. So there's 6, in fact, different groups of pumps that operate each one off a different thermostat. So if you're in a bedroom section or kitchen or downstairs, even here in the basement, you can pick which thermostat setting you want for that location, and you get comfort to your specification.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. One thing to note, of course, is that these systems are so efficient that they actually have such low temperature heat that they finish off with. It can go right up plastic pipe rather than a metal flue.
Great. Looks like we've got it covered here. It looks industrial, doesn't it?
Sure does. So we have a very efficient windows and walls and attic, and now we have a very efficient system all working together.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. I look forward to your next visit.
It was great, Amy.